Hey everybody, and welcome to Q&A Tuesday, where I answer the questions that you have concerning, I guess, health and nutrition. Trying to help you to be the best you that you can possibly be. Trying to help you be healthy and do so in a way that does not cause issues. And we want it long and sustaining. So today we're talking about a topic that I actually find myself talking about frequently, and I think the biggest reason is that, gosh, there's so much misinformation out there about diets and how that works. And, oh, I want to lose 10 pounds. I need to go on a diet. And, the sad thing is diet in general just tends to mean the things that you eat on a regular basis. But it has such a negative connotation because when I think diet, I think sacrifice. I think, eating like ridiculously small amounts of food. And while, portion control is really important, I think that most of us don't have the right concept of what healthy nutrition is like. So we're going to talk today about why you should not be super aggressive with your diet, because of course that means low calorie. And here's my frustration. A lot of people say, well, it worked for me before. Okay, but how's that working for you now? Because now you're coming to me talking about nutrition, but your frustration is that not only did you put the weight back on, but you probably put a few more pounds on than you had before. So obviously that low calorie diet did not work for you, at least not long term. And so there's some really negative situations that happen from when you're doing low calorie diets. They're completely, they're not necessary, and they usually go quite against what you're trying to accomplish, especially when it comes to long term. So just let me give you an example. When I was at my very, very heaviest, I was 210 pounds, and at 5'3" that's a lot of weight to put on a very small frame. And I used to think I was big boned, but that's crap because I know what my wrist size is now. I'm not big boned. I just didn't have the right education. Now, once I started tracking my food, and really for me at the time in the beginning became down to calories in, calories out, although there's more to that, so that's not the only thing to think about. But, I was eating 2,400 calories and losing weight. So somebody that's, over 200 pounds and thinking, well, I'm going to start at 1,200 calories, right there's your biggest problem. Because if you start at 1,200 calories, think about it like as a car. If you drive a big pickup, like a diesel pickup, you probably have a pretty good size fuel tank. You might even have two, because you have a big truck to move around and you're going to use up fuel. Once you drive maybe a Prius or something that's much smaller, you're going to have a much smaller gas tank. You don't need to carry as much fuel around in order to fuel your car. Your body is the same way. When you're 250, 300 pounds, you need a lot more fuel to move your body. So if you start at 1,200 calories, your body goes, what the heck? And it immediately drops your metabolism because it has to preserve energy in order to function and survive for the most part. So, 1,200 calories for somebody that's starting at 300 pounds is totally inappropriate and can really harm somebody. I really personally, now again, this is Melissa on a soapbox, but I really have issues with really very low calorie diets, including the HCG and Ideal Protein. I don't care that they're started by doctors because doctors don't have enough nutrition background. I've even known a few new dietitians that I'm going, I don't even understand how you can even give people advice because you don't know what you're talking about yourself. Now, I'm not to say that all are the same. Like, I just have been in situations where I've met some people, we're all human. I get it. The information that we're taught, at least in the United States, is bupkis. It's just stupid. It's not based on research. Just like the 90s when it came out with the low fat diets and that fat causes fat, which of course at this point, the research shows that that is not correct. The problem is coming from too much junk, too much really highly processed, sugar-filled foods are causing the majority of the issues. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. But you really got to do your research. You got to know what you're talking about. My biggest frustration is that we keep coming back to the same myths and garbage information. Just because you read it on the internet, guys, does not make it true. First of all, I see so much garbage on Instagram that I'm going, I don't even understand you don't even have a background in nutrition. Why are you telling people what to do? Or that exercise can actually hurt people. You obviously don't have a background in exercise science. So, you have to be really careful who you're following and what kind of information that you're getting, what kind of advice you're taking, because there's just so much garbage. If it worked, we'd all be super healthy right now, right? We'd all have dropped all the weight. If that pill worked or if that diet worked for everybody, we'd all be there. So it's obviously not appropriate. I think my biggest frustration, the best diet is the one that you can stay on forever, right? Because most people don't want to go backwards. Who wants to drop 50 pounds and then gain it all back? Nobody. So why are you doing something that's unsustainable, unhealthy, and actually causes cravings and issues, right? That it's just frustrating. So let's talk a little bit about why aggressive dieting isn't appropriate. So I consider aggressive dieting anything where you're trying to lose a large amount of weight in a very short amount of time. Number one, it's unrealistic. The biggest issue with very low calorie diets is that within 5 days, this is research, guys. This isn't based on, the BS that we hear on Instagram. This is actual research. Within 5 days of eating extremely low calorie, your body actually reacts in a very negative way to those low calories. Now, there's a big difference, and there's other research that shows intermittent fasting can be helpful. And again, totally different ballgame. Topic for another day. But for the most part, most people are trying very low calorie. Like, I don't know if y'all remember cabbage soup diets and hard-boiled egg. Like, I've seen the weirdest stuff. And I'm just going, who can sustain that for any amount of time? Your body will actually do things to fight back. You understand that our bodies were designed to survive. And even though in this day and age, everything that we need is pretty much down around the corner, our ancestors weren't so lucky. They actually had to go out and forage and hunt and do the things that they needed in order to survive. So there was a lot based on the fact that they could retain body fat when food was plenty versus when, in times of famine or not having enough food. Well, our bodies haven't changed, unfortunately, that much, but our food supply has. So the downside is with the convenience of fast food, junk food. I mean, you walk into the grocery store and I see garbage everywhere. The actual clean whole food that our bodies need is the least amount provided there. And even at that, there's a lot of things that are just really not grown well, not grown in great areas where the soil's plentiful and the nutrients in the soil's great. So we're missing. We've got such a deficiency in why we need to eat, right? Yes, it's supposed to provide energy and fuel, but it's also supposed to be nutrient dense. We need the vitamins and minerals that it provides. So I think we're just really looking at the wrong thing, the wrong situation. Again, for somebody who's extremely overweight or obese, like where I started, yeah, there's some things that we can do in order to help our bodies to utilize our fat stores, but eating super low calorie. And in that case, even people are like, well, I'm just going to eat very few calories, but then those calories end up coming from, again, highly processed junk food. You're actually way, way off track. And that can be such a big problem. And I'm so frustrated with the amount of education and information that's out there because, of course, the food industry wants to make their money. So they're not going to teach you how to eat correctly. The schools don't teach you how to eat correctly. As a matter of fact, our government in the schools deem pizza as a vegetable, which, don't even get me started there, is so ridiculous because, of course, I'm not saying that you can never have pizza, but to count pizza as something healthy that's not how we teach our children how to be healthy. So that can be a big problem. So let's talk about the downsides of utilizing an extremely low calorie aggressive diet. For anybody who's ever yo-yo dieted, yeah, isn't that like the definition of insanity is trying to doing the same things over and over and over again and expecting different results. You realize it didn't work the first time, it's not going to work the second time. And the older that we get, the harder it's going to be to actually make that work. You might get away with it when you're young because your metabolism's high. You might have some great genetics. But as we get older and our hormones change and things happen, not going to work so well. So downsides to really low calorie diets. First of all, you're going to quickly hit a plateau because your body is going to start fighting you. There is something to be said for a small deficit every week to allow your body to burn off fat as fuel. Now, I'm not going to get into macronutrients today. That's a topic for another time. It does make a difference. The different macronutrients do different things. However, if you're not even giving your body enough to pull from for energy, it's actually going to prevent you from burning fat because it goes into starvation mode. So anything more than, it depends on the person, right? The smaller the person, the less you weigh, the less deficit you can have and get away with. Somebody who is starting like I did at maybe 200 plus pounds, all we have to do is clean up our diet a little bit, and all of a sudden our body starts making changes and our body composition changes. For those of us that are a bit smaller, it actually gets harder because our body wants to survive. I think the upside of body fat, and I know that especially the women are going, there's no upside of body fat. The upside of body fat is that it is your survival mechanism. Fat is there for multiple reasons, but it is to help you survive. It's to help you build and maintain the ability to make a baby. It's to, in times of very low ability of food, to actually protect you, from dying, right? So again, it's there for a reason. The problem is we just really don't appreciate that fact. So, when you try to make too aggressive of an approach, your body will immediately try to fight you on it because it wants to survive. Your body does two things without you even knowing, right? It wants to survive and it wants to avoid pain. So if you are dropping your calories to a really low amount, your metabolism will drop with it. So let's talk a little bit about metabolism. Now, everybody kind of has a happy point. It's like your thermostat in your house, right? If you set it to 65 during the summer, or 68, if it needs to heat up because the house is cold in the morning, it will do so. It'll turn on and run the heat. But if it gets too hot during the day, the air conditioner will kick on because it's trying to stay at 68 all day. And your body's the same. If your happy weight is 145, you might have a cheat meal or an entire pizza, but you're going to drop right back down to 145. And if you try to drop a bunch of weight, your body's going to fight you on it. You're going to come back up to 145. The problem is with all the highly palatable, high processed foods, it can actually confuse your hormones and build your thermostat so that it's at a higher plateau, right? So maybe now instead of 145, you might be at 165. Over the years, as you continuously eat a bunch of junk and foods that your body was not designed to eat, it will grow. That thermostat's going to change. So, at some point, my thermostat, my body just stored fat like crazy. It took me 3 decades to get to that point. So it's not going to take 3 weeks to undo the damage that I did to my body. It took me a long time. The initial drop was okay, but it's taken me 9 years to get to the body composition that I have now, which is a lot more muscle definition and lean body mass versus a lot less body fat. I was 46-ish% body fat when I first started. Now I run, depending on what I'm doing, right now I'm right around 19, which for a woman is pretty decently healthy. So again, your body has a place that it wants to be happy. And first of all, I think it's really important, no matter if you're a girl or a guy, I think it's really important that you respect your body. Your body works really hard for you. And so for you to really hate yourself or hate your body, you can be dissatisfied, but realize that it's choices that you are making. Your body doesn't make those choices for you. Well, now it does, but to an extent. But you overall have the ability to make those habit changes, those decisions. You just have to do them in a way that doesn't fight your body. Because the other thing that happens with really low calorie, highly aggressive diets is that it actually affects your body's hormones. And now we're not just talking about your sex hormones. We're talking about things like leptin, which is the way that your body tells you, hey, I'm full. I don't need to eat anymore. So the more that you are changing those hormones, then your body starts doing weird things like craving, more hungry than normal. Those are there for a purpose. Again, they're designed to help keep you from starvation. So if you fight that by going, you know what, I'm only going to eat 1,200 calories today, instead of, hey, I'm going to work with a 300 to 500 calorie a day deficit and ease your body into it, your body won't fight you as hard for it. There is a big difference. Again, if you have done an aggressive diet and yo-yoed back and forth and back, it's not fun. It's not only is it not fun physically, but it's more emotionally and mentally damaging than anything, because then we consider ourselves a failure. We go through the guilt cycle, right? You eat to feel better, but then you feel bad because you ate, so then you eat to feel better. That is a horrible relationship to have with food. So part of it, it does stem a little bit from our upbringing. I grew up with the whole finish your plate. There's starving people in other countries. I get it, but at some point we have to take responsibility for our actions and for our habits and for the way that we want to go. I was the least likely person to expect myself to be healthy or to even be able to see abs. So, the fact that I can not only get there, but maintain it for 9-10 years, pretty incredible to me. And if you don't believe me, go back through my scroll of pictures in both Instagram and Facebook, and you're going to see my before and after pictures. That is me. I've actually had people tell me, well, that's not the same person. Look at my nose, look at my eyes, look at my lips. It's the same damn person. I was there. I know. So again, you have to be really careful with making sure that you're not dropping so far that your body will fight you. Again, cravings mean that you're missing something. It's what you fill those cravings with that determines whether or not you're actually going to gain weight. So, and realize, guys, it's worse for women because our hormones cycle every month, and there are specific things that happen. You're not crazy when certain times of the month you start to PMS and you start to crave things. There's a reason. So you have to make sure that you're not only okay with it, that you expect it and you know coping skills in order to deal with it, so that you're not doing crazy things. So, the biggest problem with those kind of diets is that they are completely unsustainable. I think people forget that whatever you do to get there, you have to keep doing to stay there. So, if you're drinking broth every day and not eating anything, but you get where you want to go, well, first of all, you're probably skinny fat because that's not enough to sustain anything, and you're probably not lifting. I do believe that any diet that requires you don't exercise is absolutely ridiculous and should not be considered. There's so many benefits from exercise, and I'm not just saying that because, I'm saying that because of research. Even just the fact that you actually build new neural pathways in your head when you exercise. So as you get older, you can actually maintain a young mind. There's just no downside to that. Plus, building lean body mass or muscle, guys, muscle's a natural fat burner. Why would you not? Girls, I don't want to hear it. Don't tell me you just want to tone, because fat does not have shape, right? Yeah, well, it has shape, cellulite. But don't tell me you're going to get bulky. That's garbage. You have to be taking some extra testosterone, and you have to be eating a lot of crap in order to get bulky, right? Cupcakes make you bulky, not lifting heavy. So, it's crazy to me, the ideas that we have, but yet we're so unhappy with where we're at. We're not willing to actually reach out to a professional who knows what they're talking about and actually do the things to get you where you want to go. So again, I don't tell you this because I've got book knowledge. I tell you this because I've been at both ends of the spectrum. I know how hard it is to feel miserable and unhealthy. And I didn't even realize that my digestive system was so unhappy until I actually started eating clean and healthy. Now when I eat something unhealthy, my digestive system tells me what it thinks about it real fast. But I eat really clean on a regular basis. Now I'm not saying that I don't ever eat something fun. I love sushi to begin with, and I love chocolate. So, but I don't eat those on a regular basis. It's about common sense and balance, guys. And if you really struggle with food, you might need some professional help in order to be able to deal with that. I'm not saying that food shouldn't be, tradition. I mean, it's social. There's definitely some benefits there. But all in all, food is fuel. And that's really the first and most important part of it. We need to make sure that we're fueling our bodies correctly for what our goals are. So if you are eating super low calorie, it's unsustainable. Most people find that when they restrict that hard, that the first time that you go off plan, they binge, right? Because then it's kind of an F-it moment, and they go, well, I've already messed up. Now I'm going to eat not only that candy bar I just ate, but now I'm going to eat everything I can find in the house and run to Dairy Queen. So again, it's such an unhealthy cycle. If you're eating that minimal amount of food, you're more likely to have the opposite end of the spectrum, which of course, now you're putting a bunch of garbage on top of no metabolism. Your body has no choice but to store it. So, I really think that anytime that you feel like you have to sacrifice, I don't tell people they have to cut anything out entirely, because I think if you do, you want it more. And that can be such a counterproductive issue. Not only that, but the times that I've, been in competition and prep and had to go really low calorie towards the end of my competition before I've gotten on stage, dude, my energy is low. I'm miserable. That's a struggle. So, in a regular lifestyle, you shouldn't be like that. That's a specific type of a goal, that, some people choose to go for, but that's not the average person. And that shouldn't be done just to get, drop 10 pounds. One of the other issues too is when you do super low calorie and you're not fueling yourself, you're going to lose muscle mass. And that is a huge mistake, because muscle, again, is a natural fat burner. The more muscle you have, the higher your metabolism. Not only that, but as we get older, that is something I get a lot of clients coming in as they get a little bit older and telling me I need to increase my core strength, or my doctor says I'm going to have to be put in a home. I'm not going to be able to be independent much longer, have a great quality of life. So that is a huge deal. Muscle's a benefit. And I'm sorry, a girl that can wear a strapless dress and show some muscle, I think it's sexy. So guys, if you have a problem with that, don't be on my channel. Okay, Mike says, or reward yourself with junk on the weekends for a good week. You know, I've actually seen that. Now, I'm not saying that, again, you shouldn't have something here or there. I do make myself earn some things when I want it, but I don't do it very often. You know, I might have something to look forward to, but it's usually like once a month or so. But I did have a client years ago, finally I had to take her scale. She was a little too addicted to it. But the biggest issue was every morning she would get on the scale, and when she was down, she would celebrate and she would eat something, right? Because she deserved it, right? A cookie, a muffin, something. And then if she was up, she would just be devastated and she would binge. So either way, she was actually creating this horrible cycle of, okay, so it says the stream's been a bit choppy. It's probably Facebook because I'm not having anything on my end. I will post this when I'm done, so if you need to go back and watch it, please do. And if you have questions, make sure you post it here, or you can also message me directly. But you know, when you create that deserve level, like I deserve to have this junk food, I deserve this, you know, I've done so great all day, now it's nighttime and I'm gonna have a Twinkie. You're undoing all the benefits that you've been doing. I've also had clients that do really great during the week, and then have 2 pitchers of beer on the weekend. Well, I only had 2 drinks. Okay, honey, a pitcher of beer is not 2 drinks. You know, don't undo everything that you've done. Now, again, balance in all things. I really think it's important to attack, you like my lips, Leanna? I really think it's important to attack 1 or 2 habits at a time. It's very difficult, especially if you have a lot to change, that you need to attack 1 or 2 things at a time, because it's difficult. You guys, the physical part's the easy part. It's the mental and emotional part that's so difficult. And it is difficult to change habits. It's taken me, like I said, 9 or 10 years to get to the point where I'm at now. And even now, I still have days where, you know, I want to eat my feelings because I'm just struggling. I'm having a rough day, or I don't like emotion. So that's a big one for me too, that if I'm really dealing with a lot of emotion from multiple clients or my family, I want to shove M&Ms in my face. But fortunately, I've learned better coping skills, so that doesn't tend to be a problem. So we don't want you to lose muscle tone. Our goal is to lose fat. And that is one of the hardest things about only using the scale as a tool. The scale doesn't tell you if what you are losing is body fat, or if it's, usually the first week or 2 of a diet is water, because you're reducing the amount of food that you eat, especially carbs, where your body will actually drop water as well. So again, you're better off to pay attention to your clothes. Take pictures frequently. It really does help you to know and see if you're making changes. You know, I love taking pictures of my clients. Now, I don't share them without permission, but a lot of times they'll come back and go, I don't see anything. And I'll side by side those puppies and go, okay, look, yeah, I see changes, don't you? Yeah, sometimes the scale hasn't even moved, but dang, we see some major changes. So again, it really, you guys, it's about being healthy. It's about being healthy long-term, instead of, oh, I'm going to go on this crash diet and, you know, lose 10 pounds before our vacation next week. I do have clients that come to me with unrealistic goals. And usually at that point, what happens is I tell them, you know, not only is that not healthy, but I am not the coach for you, because if that's something that you're trying to do, I'm not going to play a part of that. And I know that that's frustrating on some degree, but, you know, I have no desire to teach people incorrect skills. So that's a big part of it. Another reason to not do really low and aggressive diets is that the nutrient deficiency is huge. Here's an interesting fact, and I know I mentioned this before, but I've told people, you know, overweight and obese people are actually extremely malnourished, which most people would think no, because they're eating all this food. Well, the food that they're eating isn't necessarily nutritious, so they're not getting the vitamins and the minerals that they need in order for their body to function correctly. They're not helping support their microbiome, which is their immune system. So again, you got to make sure that you're getting, even people who do keto, vegan, you know, intermittent fasting, have to make sure that they're taking some supplemental options in order to make sure they're getting everything that you need. A lot of times, digestive distress and disturbances, or dysbiosis, a lot of that can be led back to the fact that you are not getting all of the nutrients and the vitamins that you need. So while I'm not a huge fan of only doing supplements. I really believe that you get better nutrition and nutrients from actual food. Your body's better designed to get that from food. Here and there, it is important to take a supplement because it's supposed to fill the holes of what you're not getting. The downside is that, something that's synthetic is obviously not going to work as well as actual whole food. But again, balance, guys, balance. And again, the biggest issue with eating really aggressive, low calorie diets is that it's going to trigger overeating. You can only go so long before the cravings overtake. Your body will fight back. You are so much better off to really focus on losing a pound, half a pound to a pound a week. And the initial loss is going to be more because again, the loss from water is going to give you a bigger drop. But after that, we want you to burn fat, not muscle. So do it in a healthy way because not only do I want you to be healthy now, I want you to be healthy forever. And that is a big part of it. So here's why we struggle. Number one, I think the biggest reason we all struggle is unrealistic expectations. Again, we all think, hey, I can undo things I've done in 3 decades. I can do that in 3 weeks. It just doesn't work that way. Habits cannot be changed that quickly. The first time you have a major obstacle happen, maybe a family member dies or a relationship really goes bad or something, financial stress happens, we're going to go back to the habits that we had before because I need that highly palatable food so I can release dopamine so I can feel better, which of course, 20 minutes later you don't. I do know that hyperpalatable foods do play a huge role. Our food that the food industry is creating is designed to keep us addicted. They want to sell more food. It's big dollars. So I'm going to say it's greed. Why wouldn't they? I've actually seen research on how the Dorito chip has been the perfect amount of flavor so that you want to keep coming back for more, but it's not so much that you're overwhelmed and you don't want to eat it anymore. There's complete science behind that. They know that we're addicted. There's a purpose behind it. If you remember, cigarettes, obviously those were made to be addicting. We all know that. There's warnings on cigarette labels, but there's not warnings on food labels, which there should be. The more that you eat those highly palatable or hyperpalatable foods, the less likely that foods like vegetables and clean whole foods are going to taste good because your tongue, your taste buds have become addicted to those flavors that you've been eating. So here's my philosophy. I don't think that you should cut calories way down. Now, again, you've got to eat less than you're burning. I know that, the energy in, energy out. Again, there's more to it, but don't cut the calories way down. Just cut out the garbage. Cut out the foods that are not, even foods that are fortified, guys. It's still synthetic and it's less likely that your body's going to absorb the fortified vitamins than to get it from real whole foods that are designed that way. So don't, kind of like the whole low carb debate. There's a time and place for low carb, but really stop cutting out carbs. Just cut the crap. That's what you have to do. You have to cut out the crappy food. Again, any diet that requires no exercise should be really cautiously looked at. Not a fan. Even for obese people, there's better ways to do it, healthier ways to do it. It's just bad. Build some muscle, you guys. Building strength, building muscle not only makes you feel badass, which I don't see a problem with that, makes you feel strong, gives you great self-confidence, but it also helps burn more fat and more calories. So building muscle, girls, you're not going to build crazy big muscle. I mean, you just can't naturally. You can't do it. So I also think it's really important that you practice intuitive eating. All right, hold on a second. Daniel Trunky says, I changed eating for a bit, went back to eating how I did before, and the food didn't even taste, I can't even see the whole thing, and I don't want to press that because it might do something weird. Once you start eating clean, it's amazing how much better the food tastes and how I can't even believe that I could eat a whole pizza. Now, I'm not going to say I can't put that down because considering how heavy I lift and how much I move during the day, I burn a lot of calories, but looking at how sedentary my lifestyle was before and how much garbage I was eating, I can't eat like that anymore. I walk into the grocery store when they're cooking like fried chicken and it makes my stomach turn. I can't even smell it. It's so gross. Fried food, my body does not like fried food. The more that you start eating in a healthier way, the more you will crave to eat in a healthier way. I do think it's important to practice intuitive eating. If you can learn the difference between hunger and hunger, that is a whole battle in itself. But your body was designed to tell you when it's hungry and when it's full. And when you're eating highly nutritious food, it will do that for you. You just have to learn to pay attention. You might have to start tracking. You might have to even track triggers and how you feel when you eat. Your body will tell you. Your body will tell you that it's hungry, it's full. Yeah, we just have gotten away from that because of the way that we eat in this day and age. I think the biggest thing is that eating and trying to be healthy is not black and white. There's no, this is a good food, this is a bad food. There's obviously different shades of gray. So, while some foods are obviously not going to get you where you want to go, if you're consistently eating sugar and candy and just, junk food, you're not going, even if you're eating low calorie amounts of them, you're still not going to get where you want to go. That is not a way to become healthy. However, again, I don't believe that you should cut it all out. You need to be able to find balance in life. You need to enjoy eating Thanksgiving dinner with your family. You just might choose to do a healthier version of it. Make sure that what you do works for you and it works for you long term. If you have questions or anything specific, if you have a specific situation that you want to talk about, please make sure that you message me directly through Facebook Messenger. You can leave a message below, but if it's something you don't really want to be public about, I do respond. I do respond because I want you to be healthy. I do these, guys, this doesn't make me money. Training and stuff makes me money a little bit. I do enough to take care of my family, but my goal is to help you live a healthy lifestyle. I do remember the moment when I thought, wow, if I can do this, anybody can do this. And I chose to become an educator and a personal trainer as well as a coach. I want you to be healthy. I want you to live a better lifestyle. We're all here to be healthy and happy. That's what I believe we're put on earth for. So if you do have questions, please make sure you leave a comment below, ask your question below, or you can message me directly. I love it, you guys. I love to respond and I get my best ideas from you. These Q&A Wednesdays are questions that I'm getting frequently that you guys ask right here because why not? And here's the cool thing. If I don't know, I will tell you I don't know, and I'll probably do some massive research on it because I love that part of it. I'm the weirdo that listens to lectures when she works out. Yeah, I can't help it. But yeah, I love this. So have an incredible day, you guys. It's starting to be beautiful out. I'm so excited to just get outside and enjoy the weather. And that snow the last few months, happy right now. So until next time, you guys, that is Q&A Wednesday. And thanks for tuning in, guys. Have a great day.